Okay, good morning. So right here in this video, we're going to talk about understanding market structure and also understanding that it never always has to be perfect. I know a lot of guys are always perfectionists and always trying to make these lines make perfect sense. It's never going to be that way. The market is a lot of times unpredictable. So some things can happen you're not used to seeing most of the time. But in most cases, it is going to follow the same pattern over and over and over again. But don't think when something funky happens or something difficult and looking at the market that it just abnormal and never happened before, because that's just not true. Sometimes you got to learn how to read between the lines and find these great moves in the market. So remember, price action is what produces market structure. Price action is understanding the market psychology behind market structure. So whatever the market is doing, like you see all these candlestick bars and red and green and this and that, these is price action, right? The bars is what price action is, what the market is moving in a certain direction. Market structure is them levels, them zones you see, the levels of support, the levels of resistance you see every given time. You see how market goes in an uptrend, that's market structure. You see how it goes in a downtrend, that's market structure. You see how sometimes it goes sideways, that's market structure, right? You're building them trend lines and building them zones to find where is price going all the time and doing the same exact thing. And then depending on the way you trade, the way we trade with price action, is we identify the candlestick patterns without using any kind of indicators in our process. So this right here, very simple. We're going to dive right into learning more about market structure. Okay, this right here, what I'm on right now is a 4-hour time frame. I'm gonna start right here to find my key levels to look for that daytime move. It's just that simple. Okay, you can start from the 4, the 3, the 2, the 1 hour, and find great entries every single day. Okay, just like this, right? This right here is starting from July 14th. Let's show you how I found this trade right here, and it's very, very simple. So you're seeing the market just like this, and the first thing we have to do is identify our zones. So we're coming here and looking for the horizontal line. The horizontal line is what I use all the time. Okay, it marks out the chart all the way across forever. So I marked that whole entire chart all the way across forever, which is very, very important because you're most likely or definitely going to be using the same exact levels off the whole way, regardless of what pair you're trading. So like this right here being British pound JPY, if I add a level right there, most likely I'm going to come right back to the same level, or you're going to come right back to the same level in the future. And therefore, you're using the same exact thing over and over again. I'm going to add this level here first. Very simple because you can easily see how it touches all these levels all the way across. This is what I mean by is not always going to be perfect. You see how sometimes it's a little bit difficult, but it still makes sense. Like this right here, it did still wick to that level, and you have this touch right here, and this false breakout right here is still the same exact touch right there. This right here is how we're finding and identifying market structure. We can understand that that level is 153.19. That's what market structure means, right? The bars are showing you where it's coming to every single time. It comes to that level and something happens. The first time broke above there, pulled back, something great happened. It pushes all the way to the top side. Right here, it's fall below the level, pulled back, but doesn't come all the way to the downside. Over here, pushes above the level, pulled back, and then goes even further up to the top side. Over here, fall below the level, pulls back, and this time it do go to the downside. And you see what I mean? Like something is always occurring at this given level, and we have to be aware of that. That is what market structure means. The price action bars are moving and it's created market structure. So the next thing we're going to do right here is add another level right around here. This is what I mean by it's not always going to be perfect, but you have to learn how to read between the lines and make it look perfect accordingly to the way you trade. Because this right here is still the same thing. Like this level here is still the same thing as this, the same thing as this, and the same thing as with price action approaching right about about now. It's all the same thing. It is sometimes like right here, it's a little bit funky. You can't really tell, but that's what I mean by learning how to read between the lines. You go way back here, you still see that touch, right? You still see this touch, this touch. So you see what I mean? Like all this stuff right here is market structure. You see the last line right here. We'll add that just like that because we see how price action reacted to that past level. We can add a trend line right here because we can see how price action reacts to this level all the way across. Look at that. You see how sometimes it's not quite perfect, but it still makes perfect sense the way we're looking at it, right? And then you can add one more level way down there because that's where price action also fell down and pushed right back up. The same kind of thing you see right around here. So this right here is how we identify these levels and how we identify market structure. And also a very, very important part about market structure is understand that what's going on. Is it impulsing? Is it correcting? Is it pulling back? Is it breaking out? Like these are all the things you have to tell yourself or look at what's going on in the market. So once you have all these trend lines just as simple, right? You can now come and draw these zones that we use all the time. And these zones do not have to be big, and you can always clone them and just bring it to where you need it to be. It's always just that simple. So I'm gonna bring this down real quickly, just that simple. And now we see that. I'm gonna clone another one. I'm gonna bring this one down, just that simple. So we see that level, and I'm gonna clone another one, right? Keep on doing it, and you add these levels exactly to where you need them to be. And we got one more to the downside. Go and click that, clone it, and add that to the last level all the way to the downside. So that level, you're going to grab it and then pull it all the way down, just that simple. So now these are all market structure zones. It's exactly what price action is doing every single time when it's coming to these levels. It's just that simple. I mean, look how perfect that looks. But now we're looking for that immediate move, right? So we're going to come right here to currently what's going on right now. You see how we found all our levels all the way across, like way back here on June 17th, all the way now to July 14th. This is what I mean by you can start from the 4 hour, 4, 3, 2, 1, and find these daytime moves. Like you don't got to go way back here because it's all going to be the same exact thing. So now we're going to get closer to what's going on right now. Let's pull this up a little bit out the way. So now we're going to get closer to what's going on right about now. And it's just this simple, guys, right? So given here in this level, in this market structure zone, you can see easily, right, how we have this left shoulder, how we have this head, and then we also have this right shoulder, and then we have the past levels of support. When you're seeing things like this, it's so easy. I mean, it's crazy, crazy easy to predict what you want to do because that pullback of the market structure, once it's broken, that's the way you enter. If it breaks above this level, right? Let's say it respects the same zone and push right back above and pull back, well, you're going for the buy. The same way it did right here. The same way it did right here. It broke above that zone. It pulled back to the same zone. Pull back is the way you enter. You can enter after the pattern or enter at the previous level and get in for the buy and make all that great money. Broke above here, pull back. You make all that great money. Even though it's shorted right here, you're still making decent profit from here to there. And if it breaks above here once again, pull back, you get in for the buy again, and you make all that money to the top side. It's always just that simple. If you can always know what scenario is going to play out, you can make a ton of money because it's always going to be the buy or always be the sell. In this case right here, we can easily read this, right? This is what it means to read price action. Reading that is an evening star that price action is going bearish, right? If we see an evening star right here, we can easily tell ourselves that, okay, it's going to fall down, possibly could pull back here and then go even lower to the downside. It happened right here, right? It fell below there, it pulled back to the same zone, and it went all the way to the downside. Over here, the same exact thing can happen once again. You're just being patient and waiting for the break of that market structure, right? And these entries can be on the 4, the 3, the 2, or the 1, because you're using the same exact levels regardless of the time frame. 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So as time go on, 1 second, quickly remove this out the way so we see a better picture. So as time go on, we can play it, right? It's breaking below. It's breaking below. And when this right here is happening, you have to wait for the pullback. And then you do 3, 2, 1, right? So when you're seeing price action go down, just that simple. Now, this is the pullback that you're waiting for. Price action pulls back to the same exact zone. Now, when you're seeing this, you can do 3, you can do 2, you can do 1, and look for confirmation. You can see how on the 1 hour, we're seeing this evening star come back and play. So seeing it like this, right? And we give it a little bit more time. Don't hop in right away. Give it a little bit more time, but it is doing exactly what we wanted it to do. It broke below this level, is pulling back to the same level. We're trying to see, can we go short now? Because it broke below that level, right? And it pulled back. And that's the way we trade. Break below a level, pull back to the same level. You easily get in for that trade. And you have TP1 and you have TP2 all the way down here. And it's just that easy. You can easily have your risk management in place. Myself is like 15 to 20 pips. I'm risking every time. Very, very small amount, but you're going for a very large amount. So in this case, let's say 30 pips, let's say 16 right here or 22 max, right? But you're going for 90 something right here, almost 100 pips, all the way down here, 162. So in you're risking 25, 22, or 30 pips, it's worth it because you're going for so much profit. So seeing it just like this, guys, right? That's our analysis. Because we saw it break below that market structure, pull back to the same level, we're looking for that sell. We're not looking for the buy, we're looking for the sell because it broke below, pulled back, easy confirmation, right? As time go on, you see exactly how correct you was, right? To just be patient. You don't gotta touch anything, be bothered with anything. It's just that simple. You see it fall below the level, pull back to the same level, you get in for your sell, you make all the profit to the downside. And you see this trade, it breaks clear past the TP2 going for over 200 pips. And that's simply how you find that daytime move. This entry was 9 a.m. in the morning. So anybody can be up and make this money and hold out this trade and make so much profit by just knowing simple market structure and understanding how to read the price action. Because we saw this head and shoulder pattern, and that was why we got into the trade. And knowing that it broke below their pullback and retested to the neckline was also another confirmation. But this right here is really how simple it's going to be for you to make money every single day. You have to be patient and wait for things just like this. I'll see you next time, guys.